Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. Maybe only about like twice a year now we hear that a celebrity is coming out with some kind of makeup line or skincare or fragrance, but the new thing seems to be hair care. There seems to be a lot of random celebrities, really random celebrities launching hair care out of nowhere. And Blake Lively, Hollywood star, style icon, and now beauty entrepreneur, seems to have launched a hair care line. Not seems to, she did. And today I want to talk about why it's completely flopping, why it's not doing so well, and it's not really all because the products aren't all that good or the weird take on the anti-conditioning thing. We'll discuss it. So today I want to talk about Blake Lively's brand. Have I even said Blake Lively? I don't know. I want to talk about Blake Lively's brand, Blake Brown, and explore why it's making waves, but maybe not in the way that you'd expect or that she expected. Whenever I talk about these beauty flop videos, especially when it comes to celebrity skincare, I feel like we need to delve deeper into the whole reason as to why they even bothered launching a beauty brand in the first place, because sometimes it's kind of random, sometimes it makes sense. And I feel like this kind of makes sense a little bit. I don't know. So let's take a look at what made Blake Lively such a seemingly natural-ish fit for the beauty world, because she does fit in quite well. So for those who don't know, Blake Lively is an actor who got her breakout role in Gossip Girl, playing one of the main characters, Serena van der Woodsen. Great series, really great series. Great twist at the end. Her character is known in the show as kind of like the it girl of Manhattan, so it's no surprise that she kind of became like a big face of like fashion and beauty brands, because these fashion and beauty brands were a big part of the show, often like name dropping brands. It was probably secret sponsorships, actually thinking about it now. But in particular, especially with Blake Lively's character, her role in Gossip Girl really did help increase her profile significantly and got her on the corners of magazines like Cosmo, Cosmo Girl, Allure, and even Vogue, which has been on the cover of like 4 times now. So in addition to her many magazine cover appearances, Lively was also a near constant feature on countless red carpets during her Gossip Girl days. Kind of now, she's kind of died down with the public appearances a bit, but before long, she managed to become an it girl in real life, not just in Gossip Girl, and turned herself into a global fashion and beauty icon. And this new status was particularly evident when she was named as the face of L'Oreal in October back in 2013, making it her first major makeup campaign. And throughout her rise to fashion and beauty icon, Lively's hair has often been like a focal point of her magazine and red carpet appearances. She's always like this, you know, with her hair like this. And it looks great. Her hair looks amazing. Many people have talked about her amazing hair, her gorgeous hair, which was often described as thick, luscious, and shiny, and she's known for working with some of the best hair and makeup artists in the beauty industry, including Christopher Buckle, Rod Ortega, and Ronna O'Connor. The latter two she's been working with since her Gossip Girl days. So, you know, with her status as a like fashion and beauty, not quite icon, but face of fashion and beauty for over a decade now, it's not massively surprising that Lively has finally made her entrance into the beauty world with her own hair care line, Blake Brown. Blake Brown is a bit of a random name, but it's got its name because Brown is actually her dad's name. He took her mother's maiden name, Lively, when they got married. So Blake's dad. Blake Brown launched with a range of 8 products in August of 2024, so really recently actually. After 7 years of development, I do always question when they say like, oh, these products have been in development for however long. I'm always like, was it though, or are you just trying to make it sound like it was more of a thing? I feel like 7 years is a really long time, maybe too long actually. It's not always impressive to me when a brand's like, oh, we've been developing this product for so long. I'm like, could have been quicker. And she talked about this more actually in an article with Cosmetics Business, saying that we were uncompromising, which is why it took an absurd, how do you say that word? Why it took a stupid amount of time, but the products show our level of dedication and strict quality control. She also said, I was determined to bottle up premium salon quality hair care that is cleaner, cruelty-free, easier, yummier, more sustainable, and more accessible than anything I saw out there. Yummy is one of my ick words, I think. Yummier. So Blake Brown includes 3 shampoos. Firstly, the Fundamental Nourishing Shampoo and the Fundamental Strengthening Shampoo. And these are designed to be like alternated between. And Lively claims that this system they encourage of alternating between each shampoo will help nourish and strengthen your hair, ultimately leaving you with hair that is healthy and strong. I mean, I alternate between shampoos. I don't think that's like a unique selling point in any way. I don't know. There is also the dry shampoo to obviously help refresh your hair between washes and can also double as a texturizing spray. So the range also includes 3 masks, three. The Fundamental Nourishing Mask, the Fundamental Strengthening Mask, and the Rich Reset Pre-Shampoo. Again, the strengthening and nourishing versions are designed to be used alternatively, alternate between alongside the shampoo, whereas the pre-shampoo mask is meant to be used in addition to the shampoos and other masks, either once a week or, as they say, whenever you feel your hair needs a pick-me-up. Finally, there are styling products, which includes the Glam Mousse, the All-in Wonder Leave-In Potion, which apparently softens, detangles, reduces frizz, and primes your hair for styling. The products are free from sulfate, silicones, parabens, and synthetic dyes, and are formulated with scents inspired by Blake's favorite fragrances. And you kind of expect this from celebrity brands. Clean, natural, free of nasties, all that kind of shit, They are also all formulated to be suitable for color-treated hair as well. Blake herself has actually said that the products were based on the Kerastase, I can never say that properly, products that she's been using for years and which she has loved. And she used those as kind of like a benchmark for what she wanted her products to do. It's very expensive. It is very, very good, but it's also very expensive. So she wanted to produce products that were as effective, but without the same very, very high price tag. And initially there was a lot of buzz around this brand. People had wondered for years and years, when is Blake Lively, with her amazing, lush, thick hair, when is she gonna launch a hair care brand so we could all get her hair? I don't know much about her, but I do know about her hair. So there was a lot of initial excitement, right? But despite this initial excitement around the fact that she had finally decided to enter the beauty space herself, the launch of Lively's namesake brand has been somewhat underwhelming. Blake Brown is available at the Blake Brown Beauty website and in retail stores. I think it's available exclusively in Target. And initial reviews from magazines and influencers were mostly positive, actually, with many praising Blake Lively's products for their effectiveness and aesthetically pleasing design. However, these positive reviews seem to have come from mostly gifted product reviews prior to the launch. And I will say, when there is a celebrity involved in product reviews, even some of the most trustworthy influencers seem to get swayed to favor with them. Not in the skincare world, I would say, but no, I think Rhode is one of those brands that a lot of people really want to suck up to the celebrity because products are like mid at best. But a lot of people do kind of like turn the other cheek to any kind of like negativity about the products when a celebrity is involved. And these are all reviews prior to the launch, right? Whereas after the official launch of Blake Brown, reviews by people who actually bought the product themselves with their own money seem to be a bit more mixed. Very mixed, actually. Most reviews seem to be relatively happy with the effectiveness and the price of the product, saying that they generally saw positive results, if not necessarily mind-blowing results, but good results. But the issue people seem to have with the products is actually the packaging, like this hive-style packaging, which some find a bit like clunky and hard to use, and the fragrances, which people either love or find overwhelming. And I think that's something brands struggle with if they are relying on their skincare or beauty brand having a signature fragrance. As with any other signature fragrance, you're either going to love it or you're either going to hate it. Like, it's not for you or it is for you, I find that with Fenty Skin, for example, a lot of their fragrance products, the fragrance just isn't for me, but the products are good, but it does overall put me off using them. Others actually do have issue with the price, and despite the products being cheaper than the salon prices, with everything priced at under $25, you can't really call them cheap either. And Blake Brown seems to be aiming for this like middle ground between drugstore prices and salon prices, but many question whether the products are good enough to be worth the extra money, especially for the amount of product you get per bottle. So the shampoos come in 14 fluid ounces for $19, which is around the same amount as a lot of similar products, but the price is considerably higher. Whereas the hair masks were around $20 for 8 ounces, which compares even worse to drugstore prices for similar products. I feel like overall that is a good price point for product. If you weren't going to say that you want to make something that's cheaper and more affordable than the leading hair care brands, right? It's a little bit misleading, a little bit disappointing. If I saw those prices and I expected something cheaper, I'd be like, oh, that's not very good. But there was also an odd decision to exclude like a traditional conditioner in the range, and instead only including hair masks is also one of the things which was met with very, very mixed reviews. Some people like really praised it as an innovative move and say it has worked wonders for their hair, while others claim that the exclusion was a strange and kind of like unnecessary choice, especially for those who have naturally curly or tangly hair, many of whom say that the hair masks just don't work as effectively as a conditioner would do when you're trying to like detangle your hair or brush out tangles. But cosmetic chemists such as Perry Romowski say that from a formula standpoint, conditioners and masks are really not that different. They do the same things, they coat the hair, and some ingredients might penetrate the fiber a bit, but masks are essentially just a thickened up version of a regular conditioner, with cosmetic chemist Trevor Evans agreeing, saying that the benefits of any conditioning treatment are dependent on how much of the product you put on and how long you let it kind of like sit on the hair. He says that you could honestly just skip a mask and just use your regular leave-in conditioner for an extra 2 or 3 minutes. And Lively herself actually says, I've been lucky to work with all the best people in the hair care world since I was 19, and they all use shampoo with a mask instead of a conditioner. But you know, despite this kind of like very lukewarm reception about the launch of these brands and the odd packaging and the slightly higher than expected price points, the reason this brand might be flopping so bad may not necessarily be down to the products themselves, but it may actually be down to some rumors about Blake Lively's reputation as a human. Blake Lively perfectly timed the launch of her hair care line for just 2 days before the premiere of her latest film, It Ends With Us. This is an audiobook that I downloaded because I thought it was a true crime story, and it's not, so I was really annoyed. But I still want to see that film. And this should have been very, very clever marketing, right? All attention was on her for a little bit. This was a film that so many people were waiting for because it was like a best-selling book. So as many celebrities do, you launch something alongside something else that you're doing in your career, right? Clever marketing play, raising her profile and subsequently interest in her brand without any extra effort. But in reality, it's likely just added to her decline in reputation and popularity. Rumors actually began surfacing during the press tour for It Ends With Us that Lively had been very difficult to work with on set. Now, we don't do celebrity gossip really, unless it's beauty related. So this isn't about gossiping about celebrities and who they are as a person. I'm simply talking about this because it ties into how well her brand could have done. And these rumors came out just weeks before the launch of Blake Brown. And the rumors stemmed from the way she and co-star and director Justin Baldoni interacted with each other. And from comments they made, as well as comments made by others involved in the production, they just seemed to not really get along. An inside source told Us Weekly there were 2 camps on the film, Team Blake and Team Justin. This creative struggle set the tone for the negative experience behind the scenes and grew into them not speaking anymore. And the sources also said that Justin felt hurt and sidelines as Blake allegedly made decisions about the script and wardrobe changes, often without consulting Justin or his team. And reports from other sources claim that Lively had been difficult to work with throughout the filming process and that she had basically taken over the film set by the time it came to editing. She also allegedly created her own edit of the film and fought with Baldoni over which he should release. A fight which she would actually eventually win, with one source telling the Daily Mail that everyone was a little bit afraid of Blake on set, saying she wasn't mean, but she was just so effortlessly rude. And these tensions became so obvious during an interview Baldoni gave to Entertainment Tonight, where after being asked if he'd direct the sequel, he said, "I think there are better people for that one. I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think." And Blake may have been able to calm these rumors if she acted a little differently on the press tour, but unfortunately for her, she only made things worse. And I'm sure you've seen all these clips of her current interviews and past interviews on places like TikTok where she's just so mean and dismissive and honestly just weird.
This movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could
What's your childhood dream? To wear Britney Spears' Versace dress.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Creative disagreements are very common on film sets, right? So Lively's diva rumors weren't necessarily a huge deal to start off with, but she managed to kind of like alienate fans even further during the press tour by bizarrely talking about the film as if it's a beautiful romance when it's actually a story about domestic violence. She also avoided any questions related to domestic violence in the story and seemed to be more concerned about talking about her hair or her outfits or promoting her new hair care line, as well as her and her husband's alcohol brands, which was, you know, this could have been a great opportunity to raise awareness about domestic violence, but she basically seemed to have very little interest in raising awareness and far more interest in promoting her own brands. And social media users, and her fans included, commented on her behavior on the press tour, saying that she was definitely very tone deaf. The promotion of this film is a complete slap in the face, some of them said, to every woman who has endured domestic violence. And others had said, "I'm absolutely disgusted by the cutesy way this film is being promoted." Regardless of what you think about Blake Lively's actions on the film set, set and the press tour, it's undeniable, like really, that her behavior, rightly or wrongfully, made her the internet's enemy number one for a good month or two. Like, she was everywhere for a really long time, with people just talking about their own personal experiences as assistants on set, as people who have interviewed her before. People started to grow such a disliking for Blake Lively right at the moment she was launching Blake Brown. And it's really very likely that the brand's lukewarm performance so far is a result of her declining reputation and likability. I think people used to love her so much because she was married to What's-His-Face, and he seems like a nice guy, so how can she not be, right? And you actually saw people returning on TikTok their Blake Brown hair products, chucking them in the bin. People just really just didn't like her at all. The packaging is also ugly. Did I say that? It's ugly. And how do you stack that? How do you store that sensibly? No one thinks about this. Like, I want to put these things in my cupboard. Where am I going to put that? If I want to store it? No, I guess it's not that big a deal, actually. And that's the thing nowadays, is you can't just be somebody who launches a brand and people will look into the brand without even looking into who you are. Celebrity or not, people want to know the people behind these brands. People are always like, don't bring politics into skincare, don't bring politics into beauty, but you have to. If you have any belief in anything, or you don't want to support certain things, people, whatever, certain political views, you are technically voting with your money. You are supporting people with your money, and you are supporting their direct actions with your money. So people look at a brand now, they want to know the owners, they want to know what their political views are, they want to know how they are as a person, what have they done in the past. And this is why people boycott brands, because whether it's a different political view or the person is just a dickhead, they don't want to support that person with their money, and rightfully so. And sometimes this works in people's favor. I think, for example, Kim Kardashian's skincare line and her Skims brand, she originally named it Kimono. That actually raised the brand's profile, and I feel like this outrage marketing actually does work, unfortunately, for a lot of brands. You don't call something Kimono and think then don't see the issue there, This outrage bait marketing thing does work. It has to be well thought out. I know that sounds really stupid, but it's just a fact of the matter. It's a fact of the business. What Blake Lively did wasn't outrage marketing. It's just getting found out. So it didn't quite work in the way that it might do for other brands. And a lot of people think that this is what brands do, makeup brands in particular, when they launch a range of foundations, right? They purposely don't do the full range. They purposely leave out the darker, deeper skin tones for outrage marketing. There are a lot of brands that you would never heard of unless they did something wrong in the first place, which are now staples in people's routines. Again, not saying it's a good thing, but it happens. Everyone knows about Goop because of the countless controversies that they've had, And it hasn't worked for Blake Lively because it wasn't done on purpose. It's just who she is. Now, outside of Blake Lively's reputation, there are likely many reasons why Blake Brown hasn't been as popular as some people might have expected, or that Blake Lively might have hoped. As we mentioned in the J.Lo video, the beauty industry is highly oversaturated, and consumers are bombarded with not just new celebrity brands, but constant new brands all the time. And I do feel like the hair care world in particular is very hard to get into. I think one of the only big brands we've seen make a real dent in the industry is K18 in modern times. But again, especially with celebrity-backed products in recent times, Rhode, Rare Beauty, J.Lo Beauty, even The Rock Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson has his own skincare line. Everyone's tired, and even though we're not getting as many launches as we once did of celebrity skincare lines or beauty lines, because there was so much at one time, we still kind of like roll our eyes every time a new one launches. I think that time of celebrities launching skincare brands and beauty brands really made us look at them and be like, what are they doing? It really made us think, like, why are they doing this? Like, before it was kind of like a fun collab, and now it's like, what are they doing? And don't get me wrong, even though the quality of the Blake Brown products have been praised by some, getting consumers to try something new in such an oversaturated market is tough. And Blake Brown's exclusive deal with Target may have also played a role in this lackluster launch, actually, potentially limiting the brand's market visibility, because, you can go other places. Sephora, she should have gone to Sephora, right, with that kind of price point. But while these other issues have contributed to Blake Brown's poor performance, it seems that it's mostly down to the fact that people just don't like Blake Lively. They just don't like her as much as they did even just a few months ago at the beginning of the year. And when you're a celebrity launching a brand based on your name, your likability, and your image, people not liking your name, your likability, and your image is a pretty big problem. The launch has been so bad that people are saying online that the Target clearance shelves are actually full of returned Blake Brown products. So what does this mean going forward for Blake Brown and Blake Lively? Whatever the reason is, Blake Brown really hasn't performed anywhere near as well as many would have expected. We're not seeing it anywhere. They haven't had that viral moment, which is so important to any brand, not just celebrity brand, but any brand's reputation, credibility, and their future. The question really is, where does this brand go from here? And honestly, I don't know. Either Blake Lively has to go on this huge apology tour and hide in the shadows for a bit, but then you can't promote yourself or your brand if you're just hiding away and trying to stay out the spotlight and hope that people forget that you're a dickhead, or supposedly a dickhead. From what I've seen, she's been nasty. She's a nasty, nasty person. But I think it may be too little too late, to be honest with you. I think it's just too late. I think now people know the exact kind of person she is. I feel like we've all worked with somebody like Blake Lively, how she appears in these interviews. You could look at them and be like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so I used to work with in this place. Dickhead, you know? I mean, there is potential for expansion past Target. If they can't sell on Target, who else is going to take them, you know? I think the best thing Blake Brown can do is rename, rebottle, and reface the brand. Blake Lively can work in the background. No one wants anything to do with her anymore. So if she can be like a silent partner and kind of try and resell this as not a celebrity brand, they might be all right. But as for now, people just don't want anything to do with her. People don't like her. People don't want to support her. People don't want to give her any of their hard-earned money for these budget products that are just a little bit too expensive. Honestly, I think the brand's done. I don't think it's going to be around for much longer. It took, what, 2 months for the brand to completely flop, 3 months for people to start returning their products and binning them, and then 5 or so months for the products to be on every sales shelf in every Target. So when it comes to what the future holds for this brand, I honestly don't think there is one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you can separate the celebrity from the brand, if the products are good enough, and if you can kind of separate the fact that people don't like her or your own personal feelings towards the celebrity. If you can separate that too and just buy what sounds like okay-ish products, let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I don't take great care of my hair. These products aren't for me. I use K18, which I love. I'm just, you know, honestly, I'm not on the lookout for a new hair care brand, especially when it's tied to somebody so unpopular, so cringe-inducing, you know? Let me know what you think in the comments. You can watch the rest of the biggest beauty flop videos here. There's just one at the moment, and then some light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.